298 seconds, 4 minutes and 58 seconds. The new record. Congressman Benny Thompson stood up, held a document destruction log above his head, and asked the question that would create the longest silence in congressional hearing history. Mr. Miller, between March 11th and March 19th of this year, 1,450 pages of DHS policy documents were removed from secure storage and sent to a private document destruction company. The shredding was authorized as routine records disposal, but those pages contained active investigation files, personnel records, and contractor documents, and they were subpoenaed by this committee 2 weeks before you ordered them destroyed. So I have one very simple question. WHO ordered the destruction of 1,450 pages of subpoenaed documents. Miller's face went completely still. Not shocked, not defensive. Still, like someone who had just been asked the one question he spent months hoping would never come. His lead attorney's hand froze on his legal pad mid-sentence. His second attorney actually stood up halfway, then sat back down when she realized standing would only make it worse. And Benny Thompson, the man who chaired the January 6th committee, the congressman who spent 2 years investigating document destruction, obstruction, and cover-up, had not even mentioned the smoking gun email yet. If you are new to Patel Report Files, subscribe right now, because what you are about to witness is someone who investigated the biggest cover-up in recent history, dismantling someone who just committed the same crime. House Oversight Committee, Room 254, Tuesday morning, 10:17 a.m. Eastern. The hearing was listed as Oversight of DHS Records Management and Compliance Protocols. Records Management, the most boring title imaginable, designed to keep cameras away, keep attention low. It failed completely. Thompson arrived with a single folder, thin, unassuming, but inside that folder was something that would destroy Miller's entire defense. An email sent by Miller himself with his signature, ordering the destruction of subpoenaed documents, and a timestamp that proved he knew exactly what he was doing. Miller walked in looking composed, confident even. He had prepared for questions about border policy, enforcement operations, budget allocations. He had not prepared for someone who spent 2 years as chairman of a committee that investigated document destruction, witness tampering, and obstruction of congressional investigations. He had not prepared for Benny Thompson. The first 40 minutes were procedural. Questions about records retention schedules, digital archiving systems, compliance requirements. Miller gave competent answers. He knew the regulations. He cited the Federal Records Act. He looked comfortable, almost bored. Then Thompson took the microphone and the room temperature dropped 10 degrees. Mr. Miller, Thompson's voice was calm, steady, the voice of someone who has done this many times before and knows exactly how it ends. The National Archives and Records Administration has strict guidelines for federal records disposal. Agencies must submit disposal schedules, get approval, document everything. It is a careful process designed to prevent exactly what I am about to describe. He opened his folder. This is a document destruction authorization form from March 11th of this year. It requests immediate disposal of 1,450 pages of materials from the DHS Office of Policy. That is your office, Mr. Miller. The form states the materials are, quote, expired temporary records eligible for routine destruction under approved disposal schedule N1563-08-2, end quote. He set it down. Sounds routine. Sounds legitimate, except for one problem. He pulled out a second document. This is a congressional subpoena issued by this committee on February 24th, 15 days before your destruction request. The subpoena demands, quote, all documents, emails, memoranda, and files related to border statistics, emergency funding, and contractor procurement for fiscal years 2024 and 2025, end quote. He looked up. Mr. Miller, the 450 pages you destroyed on March 11th contained exactly those materials, files that were under active congressional subpoena. Now I need to understand something. Did you know about the subpoena when you authorized the destruction? Miller leaned forward. Congressman, records management decisions involve coordination with multiple offices, the General Counsel, the Records Officer, Congressional Liaison. I personally do not. I am going to stop you right there. Thompson held up his hand. Because I have done this before. I spent 2 years investigating people who destroyed subpoenaed documents. I know every excuse, every deflection, every claim of bureaucratic complexity, and I know what it looks like when someone is lying. He pulled out document 3. This is an email from your deputy to the DHS records officer, date March 9th, 2 days before the destruction, subject urgent records disposal request. He read from it, quote, Mr. Miller has requested immediate authorization for disposal of policy office materials per attached inventory. Please expedite approval and arrange contractor pickup by end of week. Time sensitive. End quote. He set it down. Time sensitive. Why was destroying these records time sensitive, Mr. Miller? What was the urgency? Miller's attorney interjected, Mr. Chairman, routine records management often operates on specific timelines due to storage constraints. The records were subpoenaed. Thompson's voice did not rise. It did not need to. They were under congressional demand. There is no storage timeline that overrides a subpoena. None. Now I need to stop for a second and say this. If you believe destroying subpoenaed documents is obstruction of justice, hype this video right now. The hype button is right next to like. You can hype 3 times a day for free. We have 7 days to get this into the top 100 most hyped videos on YouTube. Every single hype counts. Do it now. Then keep watching because what Thompson shows next proves Miller personally ordered the destruction after being told the documents were subpoenaed. Thompson pulled out document 4. Mr. Miller, on March 6th, 3 days before your deputy sent that urgent email, the DHS General Counsel sent you a memo. Subject, Congressional Subpoena Compliance Requirements. He held it up. This memo specifically states that your office must preserve all materials related to border statistics, funding, and contracting. It lists the exact categories from the subpoena, and it ends with this sentence. He read slowly, quote, no materials in these categories may be destroyed, transferred, or altered until the subpoena is fully satisfied, and this office provides written clearance, end quote. He looked at Miller. You received that memo on March 6th. Your deputy sent the urgent destruction request on March 9th. 3 days later, the destruction happened on March 11th. 5 days after you were explicitly told to preserve those materials. The room went completely silent. Thompson continued, and here is what makes this worse. I subpoenaed the destruction company's records. This is their pickup log. He held up another document. On March 11th, a contractor from Secure Document Solutions arrived at DHS headquarters at 6:47 a.m. early. Before most staff arrived, they loaded 1,450 pages onto 3 trucks. The entire process took 41 minutes. By 7:30 a.m., the trucks were gone. He paused. By 9 a.m., every single page was shredded, destroyed, unrecoverable. He set the paper down. Mr. Miller, someone wanted those documents gone fast, before anyone could stop it. Before this committee could enforce the subpoena, before anyone could see what was in those pages. So I'm going to ask you directly. Haley O. ordered the destruction. Miller opened his mouth. Nothing came out. His attorney whispered something urgent. Miller shook his head slightly, and that is when the silence started. Thompson pulled out his phone, opened the stopwatch app, held it up so the room could see. Mr. Miller, I am going to time this, because the American people deserve to know how long you will sit here protecting whoever destroyed evidence under congressional subpoena. He pressed start. The room was dead silent. 10 seconds. Miller's hands flat on the table, perfectly still. 20 seconds. His attorney writing something, crossing it out, writing again. 30 seconds. A Republican committee member spoke. Benny, this is serious. If documents were destroyed after a subpoena, that is a crime. Miller needs to answer. Miller said nothing. 40 seconds. Thompson stood up, still holding the stopwatch. Mr. Miller, I chaired the January 6th committee. We investigated document destruction. We investigated obstruction. We investigated people who thought they could hide evidence from Congress. He walked slowly toward the witness table. It did not work then. It will not work now. 60 seconds. 1 full minute. Because here is what you did not know. The destruction company keeps digital scans of everything before shredding. Federal requirement for government contracts. 70 seconds. We have copies of all 450 pages. 80 seconds. The room erupted, not with shouting, with a sharp collective intake of breath from people realizing they just watched someone admit to a crime that did not work. Thompson waited for silence. That folder I brought in. It does not just have the authorization form and the emails. It has complete scans of every page you tried to destroy. 90 seconds. Every document, every email, every memo, every contractor record, everything. 100 seconds. He held up the folder. Your document destruction company provided these scans in response to our subpoena. Either they did not know you were trying to destroy evidence or someone there wanted us to have it. Either way, we have everything. 120 seconds. 2 full minutes. Miller's face had gone gray. 140 seconds. Thompson walked back to his table. And here's what makes this worse. I did not just get the documents, I got the metadata. Every file has embedded data. Creation date. Last modified, last accessed by. He read from a page. Of the 450 pages you destroyed, 1,127 were tagged Congressional Inquiry Responsive. That is an automatic tag the IT system applies when a subpoena comes in. 160 seconds. You did not destroy random expired records, Mr. Miller. You destroyed documents that were specifically tagged as responsive to our subpoena. That proves you knew exactly what you were doing. 180 seconds. 3 full minutes. A Democrat from Maryland stood up. Mr. Chairman, we are witnessing obstruction of justice in real time. Miller destroyed subpoenaed documents, and he is refusing to explain who told him to do it. 200 seconds. Thompson nodded. That is correct, and the law is very clear. 18 U.S.C. 1519. Destruction of documents to obstruct investigation. 20 years maximum sentence. 220 seconds. He looked at Miller. 20 years, Mr. Miller, for destroying evidence, for obstructing Congress. Is whoever you are protecting worth 20 years? 240 seconds. 4 full minutes. Miller's hands started to shake slightly. He pressed them harder on the table to stop it. The cameras caught it. Everyone saw. 260 seconds. The room was so quiet you could hear the ventilation system. Thompson walked back to his folder, picked up one final document. Mr. Miller, I also subpoenaed your email account, and on March 10th, the night before the destruction, you sent an email to yourself. Subject line, final authorization, 280 seconds. The email says, and I quote, proceed with document disposal as discussed. Confirm completion by end of business tomorrow. This is necessary. End quote. He held it up to the camera. You sent yourself an email authorizing the destruction, one day before it happened, the day after you received the memo telling you to preserve everything. 290 seconds. That is not an accident, Mr. Miller. That is not bureaucratic confusion. That is premeditated destruction of evidence under congressional subpoena. Thompson stopped, looked at his watch. Mr. Miller, I'm going to count to 298, and then I'm going to move to hold you in contempt of Congress and refer this to the Department of Justice for criminal prosecution. 295. 296, 297, 298. He stopped the timer. 4 minutes and 58 seconds, the new record. The longest silence in congressional hearing history. He turned to the committee. Mr. Chairman, the witness has refused to answer. I move to hold Stephen Miller in contempt of Congress for refusal to answer questions material to this investigation. I further move to refer this matter immediately to the Department of Justice for criminal investigation under 18 U.S.C. 1519, obstruction and destruction of evidence. Both motions were seconded. Both passed unanimously. Republicans and Democrats, everyone voted yes. Thompson gathered his documents. Mr. Miller, 298 seconds. 4 minutes and 58 seconds. That is how long you sat here, rather than answer a question about destroying 450 pages of subpoenaed documents. He held up the folder. But your silence does not matter, because we have every page. We have the emails. We have the authorization forms. We have the pickup logs. We have your email to yourself ordering it done. And we have metadata proving you knew they were subpoenaed. He paused. You thought destroying them would make them disappear. But you forgot something. Document destruction companies keep scans, and someone made sure we got them. The hearing adjourned immediately. Miller was escorted out by Capitol Police. His attorneys surrounded him, but there was nothing to say. Benny Thompson had just done what he does best. He investigated document destruction. He recovered the evidence, and he proved not just that documents were destroyed, but that Miller personally, knowingly, deliberately destroyed them after being told they were under congressional subpoena. This is not speculation. This is a destruction authorization form with Miller's signature. This is emails ordering urgent disposal. This is a general counsel memo explicitly telling him to preserve. This is an email Miller sent to himself the night before. This is metadata showing 127 pages tagged as subpoena responsive and 298 seconds where Miller could have explained it but chose silence instead. The longest silence in congressional hearing history. Subscribe to Patel Report Files right now because tomorrow we reveal what was in those 450 pages. The contracts, the payments, the authorizations, everything Miller tried to destroy. Share this everywhere. Evidence was destroyed. The person who destroyed it just set a record for refusing to answer, and every single page was recovered. 4 minutes and 58 seconds. That is all it took to prove Stephen Miller destroyed evidence, and every second is documented.